I'm Kelly Hogan, and I just want to give a quick recap of what brought me to here before I get into today's video. So 19 years ago, I was obese and I was struggling with some health issues like IBS symptoms, and also I kept getting these boils on my body, which I know that's not cute, but I went to the doctor to get yet another boil lanced, and he was brilliant enough to realize that my issues were coming from excessive carbohydrate consumption. I was inflamed. And he was brutally honest enough to say, listen, if you don't lose at least 100 pounds, you're going to keep having these boils and you are probably going to die an early death. When I cried and asked him, how can I lose 100 pounds? Because I felt like I'd tried everything. He said, do not touch anything that is carby, starchy, sweet. I don't care if it's fruit, don't touch it. And I don't care if it's your birthday. He said, do it for 1 year. Mostly eat meat. So that's what I did. I ate meat, I ate eggs, I ate a little bit of dairy, and then I was never really that into vegetables, but I did have some green beans, pickles, and I did keep in things like diet soda, which said 0 carbs, and sugar-free Jell-O. It wasn't perfect, but I lost about 80 pounds in that first year. I went back to see him. I had not had one single other boil since then. I felt much better, but I was still having some issues. So I stuck with that plan for a while. My weight eventually stalled, still didn't have boils, but then I decided to go total carnivore because I met some people online and they were thriving eating only meat, which is mostly what I was already doing. So I went all in, cut out the last of the vegetables. My IBS, the end of those symptoms totally went away. My cravings for sweets went away when I cut out the sweeteners and the diet soda and the sugar-free Jell-O. And since going 100% carnivore, I have now had 3 babies and I've lost a total of over 130 pounds. I eat nothing but meat, eggs, a little dairy. I do still have coffee. My doctor is thrilled with my lab work every single year when I go. I sleep like a log. I have good energy. I get regular periods. I'm living my best life and eating delicious meat all day. So if you're a vegan, this is the point where you realize this video is not for you. You are on the wrong channel. Peace be with you. But if you are struggling with your health and you are willing to think outside of the box, past the normal narrative, welcome. That is my story. Now you're all caught up. So while this carnivore thing is not new to me, I've been doing it for quite a while. I do still take a lot of classes about addiction recovery, and I listen to podcasts and read books, and I join other people's groups so that I can keep learning and passing those things on to the people that I now work with. And I want to share my 5 takeaways from January 2024. Here we go. Number 1, it turns out that I have an anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And I didn't want to bring it up, but so do you. So I learned about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex from Dr. Andrew Huberman in a recent podcast that I linked below. Dr. Huberman said that researchers have recently discovered this portion of the brain that is larger in athletes. It's smaller in people who are obese, but that part of the brain grows as a person diets. It is larger in people who are described as tenacious or persistent, strong-willed. These are the type of people that I think we all really want to be. The ones who have grit, who take a hit, but they get right back up. These are the ones who stick to their commitments and they get the job done. Now, if you're like me, you may have assumed that this persistent persona is from nature, that it's genetics. It's who we are. You're either tenacious or you're not. May the odds be in your favor. But no, it turns out the anterior mid-cingulate cortex is not just big or small, it's malleable. It's growable. It's the chia pet of our brain. And there's one way that the researchers have found that they can actually make that sucker grow, but you're not going to like it. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex grows when a person chooses to do something that they do not actually want to do. So, you know those things you really don't want to do, like clean the drawer, do the push-ups, pay the taxes, unjam the printer, get that hair out of the drain, run. Yes, I hate all of that. But when we say to ourselves, I don't want to do it, but I choose to do it, and we carry through, we are actually like putting fertilizer on that part of the brain. And if you're thinking, so I have to have tenacity and willpower just to get more tenacity and willpower? Well, a little bit, yes, actually. But you can start really small, and that's my suggestion. So for me, I really, really hate doing squats and push-ups. Like the Grinch level hate. Hate, 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 double hate. Loathe entirely. But every single day for many, many months, and I think maybe even like 2 years now, I choose to do them every day. I keep a checklist of things that I commit to doing every day, and I make sure that squats and push-ups are on that list, partly because they are very effective exercises, and partly because I hate them. And it turns out when we choose to do things that we don't want to do, we get better at doing all of the things that we don't actually want to do. It builds fortitude and we become grittier. And in life, there are going to be things that happen that are just outside of our control, and emotions can take over and we feel bogged down, like we can't handle it. I can't handle this. I can't. But if we get this daily practice at doing the work, doing the thing, when our feelings and our emotions are telling us to do something else, to sit, be comfortable, but we say, nay, nay, I shall persevere. And that anterior mid-cingulate cortex, it expands, and we basically just become less lame and more awesome. So start small, people. If you hate making the bed, wake up and make the bed. People always told me that making the bed was a way to start the day off with a victory. And I thought, a victory over what? The unmade bed society? A victory over wrinkled duvets? Who even cares about the bed? But no, it's a victory over my own lameness, a victory over my own sloth-like desires, over my own self. And that if I were to drop and do at least one push-up, not because I love them, but because I choose to do something that I do not love, then I will have increased my willpower and my tenacity for the rest of this day. So thank you to Dr. Andrew Huberman. When I do my push-ups now earlier in the day, instead of waiting till the last minute of the night, and I do them with a little bit of disgust in my heart, I shall lovingly think of you and my ever-expanding anterior mid-cingulate cortex. So thank you. My next takeaway, those seed oils, they really do matter. So speak up for yourself. Here's how I learned it. I went on a cruise this month. It was our first big family vacation. Now, usually when I go out to eat on vacations or just to a restaurant, I come back home feeling less than great. And it's not because I didn't stay carnivore. I always stay carnivore, but I loosen up a little and I order those fried chicken wings and maybe even, oh, could I have some blue cheese dressing on the side? Some burger patties, yeah, with some cheese slices and maybe, yeah, just some mayonnaise. Well, I can always tell afterwards, I just don't feel as good as when I eat at home at my house. And for this trip, we were going to be gone and we were going to eat out every single meal for 9 straight days. So I thought, if I do that to myself for 9 days, that is a lot of meals. I am going to feel awful by the end of this vacation. And that's not what I wanted for myself. So I committed to avoiding these junky oils for the entire trip. I did not order any chicken wings. I didn't use any of the dressings or mayos, no cheese slices, which very oftentimes is not even real cheese, no foods cooked in vegetable oils. I simply asked them, could you please cook all of my meat in real butter? No oils. I am allergic to vegetable oils. Now, that allergy is not documented except in my own life. I know I don't feel good when I have it. So there you go. We're going to call it an allergy. I admit I was nervous because I had thought I was going to be an annoyance to people, and it seemed like an extra level of hassle to have to say how I want my meat cooked. It's not good enough now to get meat. Now you have to tell them how to cook the meat. But nobody acted like it was a big deal at all. They would just say, oh, real butter. Yes, please, real butter. And so they cooked for me real butter, eggs fried in butter, steak fried in butter, lobster served with sides of real butter. And at the end of 9 days, I felt just as great as I always do. So for me, I learned that asking for my food to be cooked in real butter is really not that big of a deal. And no one else acted like it was as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be. And it turned out to be incredibly worth it for me. Also, if you have not cruised yet as a carnivore, I highly recommend it. They will bring you as many steaks as you want. Just no questions asked. How many steaks do you want? My new goal is to become a carnivore cruise influencer. I will tag Royal Caribbean below. Let's all sail on blue waters and eat blue steaks. And if I get a discount code, y'all will be the first to know. Okay, number 3. The next January lesson came because of a gift that I got in the mail from one of my current group members. Let me show you. Ah! Don't be scared. Look, it is this amazing puppet that was hand crocheted by my friend and fellow carnivore, Donna. And as you look at this creepy face, I want to read to you exactly what she had to say about this creature. Okay, this is a quote from Donna. Lizard brain is a sneaky little reptile residing deep within our minds that craves sugar and carbs, luring us with its enticing sweetness. Despite our efforts to resist, lizard brain persistently tempts us, masking its unhealthy desires with glittering distractions. He adorns itself with false allure, attempting to deceive and manipulate us into indulging in harmful treats. However, with determination and awareness, we can thwart lizard brain's trickery, recognizing its deceptive tactics and making conscious, healthier choices. By seeing through its glittery facade, we can conquer our own cravings and reclaim control over our well-being, refusing to succumb to the sugary schemes of our sneaky inner lizard home. How, baby? Donna nailed that. That lizard is the creepiest thing I have ever seen. He looks strung out and disturbing, and that's perfect because that inner voice of addiction will whisper things like, eat the thing. It'll be fun. Oh, it'll feel so good. And in those moments, we need to be prepared with a response. Something like, it may feel good for a quick moment, and then it's going to feel lousy for hours and days. It will not feel good to have boils again. It won't be fun to have cravings again. So I'll pass. Thank you. And having these responses ready to go, it reminded me just this past Sunday, our pastor, Pastor Blake, was talking about, to me, one of the greatest temptations of all time, which was Jesus in the desert for 40 days. He had not eaten for 40 days. And that is the moment when Satan started telling him all of these tempting thoughts, including tempting him with food, amongst other things. And Jesus, which after 40 days was likely pretty hungry, still managed to stand strong and not fall for these temptations and whispers. He had responses ready to go, and I think we should too. So when that lizard brain says things like, you deserve this, you deserve this treat, remind addiction that you deserve more than a quick fleeting moment of mouth pleasure. You deserve health, you deserve happiness, you deserve great results and a long life and food freedom. You deserve that more than you deserve a cookie. When that voice of self-sabotage says that these circumstances are just too hard, you don't have any choice, you have no option, remind him, I always have a choice. I have total control over every single bite that goes into my mouth. I cannot control the weather or other people or other things in life, but everything I eat, actually, it is in my control. I can do hard things. Watch me, sucker. So thank you, Donna, for this amazing visual and for the reminder that having some premeditated responses to the inner voices and to those toxic substances truly can help us to have victory over them and to get the life that we truly want and deserve. Stupid blizzard. Okay. The next two are going to go a lot quicker because this is not meant to be a feature film and because I am ready for some lunch, y'all. Number 4. This month, I have continued to push the limits on how much meat I could eat without gaining a single pound, as long as I walk a lot. I am eating about as much meat as I can possibly eat. I typically have 6 buttery eggs for breakfast every morning. I have 2 to 3 tablespoons of cream in my coffee, a couple of burger patties for lunch, and then about 1.5 pounds of meat for dinner, depending on the meat, of course. If it's very fatty like pork belly, I can't eat 1.5 pounds, but I'm on quite a chicken thigh kick lately. So all total, that's about 2,500 calories per day, which is way above my estimated maintenance calories, and I am still staying at 15 to 16% body fat. That was according to my DEXA scan and now my InBody scale and Vivitar scale at home that measure body composition. And other than those dreadful 20 squats and 20 push-ups, my only exercise has been walking. I was going to CrossFit. My gym closed. It's a very tiny and kind of isolated town. There are not a lot of gymnasiums, and I have not been proactive about finding a new one. But I'm walking a lot. The weather has been cold, so it's been mostly on my walking pad, my little treadmill. So yes, this takeaway is, if you want to eat a lot more meat and stay lean, you probably can. You just might need to take a lot more steps. And number 5, my last takeaway for the moment. This month, I have seen the absolute best results that I have ever seen from my group members, and I've tried to really reflect on why. These people are sleeping better, they're losing weight quicker, they're feeling better than I have ever seen in the groups before, which of course does my heart much good. And in part, I do think it's because they are taking this walking thing more seriously. Not all of them can, but they are trying to increase, even if it's in small amounts, the amount that they're walking. But also, I think it's because more of them are on board this month with tracking calories and macros. And I know, sacrilege. We should all be eating like lions, right? And a lion would never weigh its antelope before it eats it. A lion doesn't pull out its tracking app to see if he can have one more wildebeest for dinner or to make sure he hits his little lion macros for the day. Am I right? But also, lions have never wrecked their guts with antibiotics, and they didn't jack up their insulin with highly processed zebras. And they probably never crashed their leptin with years of yo-yo dieting, and they haven't raised their cortisol at some stressful job or terrible marriage or from unresolved cubhood trauma. So also, lions, they don't even drive cars or make YouTube videos. So wake up, folks. We aren't felines. And if a person has poor leptin sensitivity, they are not even going to know if they're really full. If someone struggles with volume addiction, deals with high cortisol levels, if they have binge eating tendencies, had gastric bypass surgery, or they've starved themselves for years, they likely have no idea if they are eating 2 times as much as they need or half as much as they need. People have very messed up hunger and satiety cues, and it can take years to fix that. And yes, eating a carnivore diet is very helpful to fixing those things. We're getting proper nutrition, we're nourishing ourselves, we're not eating addictive substances. It really does help. But it can also help to look at a total daily energy expenditure calculator to try to figure out how much food should be adequate for your age, size, gender, and activity level. And then learn how to measure food to meet your needs. Now, not everyone needs to do this. You intuitive eaters out there, you are precious. #blessed. I love you. Love you. But for the rest of you who still need some guidance in how to fuel your own body's needs, tracking really can make all the difference in the world. And I've seen the most growth from people this month, partly because we really took the time in the groups over the last couple of months even to learn how to track food for those that need to. And I'm just thrilled that it's working. And that's it. Those are the main takeaways. Okay. Number one, do the things you don't want to do. Start small, build up, get that perseverance and grit. Two, y'all, let's join hands against seed oils. Enough is enough. Three, talk back to that lizard brain. Punch him in the face, back him over with your Tahoe, whatever you got to do, do it. But quit letting that guy ruin your life. Four, walk more. And no, I'm not going to quit saying it. Sorry. Five, if intuitive eating is not coming so intuitively, do not be ashamed to use some tools. If you need a food scale and a tracking app to make sure you are fueling your body well, get it, girl or boy. Just do what you need to do. And if you need further help, I would love to work with you. In my coaching groups, we celebrate each other's wins. We learn the science and the research behind what we're doing. We figure out how to calculate macros and calories. We use that TDEE for those who are ready and that do need to do it. We talk about ways of breaking weight loss stalls. We do Q&As and troubleshooting every single week. My February groups are currently full, but March enrollment is happening now, and I would be thrilled to see you there. In the meantime, eat the meat. Save the humans. Bye.